The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour with your hosts, Joe Bob and AJ Applegarth.
Touchdown! All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me, as usual, Mr. AJ Applegarth. How's it going, man?
I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Don't know if you could tell. I've got my Phillies action going on here. Just at the game last night, and it was phenomenal. I almost wore my O's gear. And then I was like, oh, wait, but the Commanders are playing tonight, man. I gotta represent. Man, had I wish I had not done that. Should have done it the other way.
They're getting their ass kicked. And then some, dude. It's brutal. This is embarrassing. So yeah, our guest is happy. He's a Bears fan. He'll I'm sure he'll let me know. But before we jump into all of that, just want to remind everybody that please hit those subscribe buttons, hit those like buttons, leave those 5-star reviews, leave those comments, guys. We love talking to you. It helps us out a long way. And of course, go over to FantasySixPack.net, become a all access member. You're going to get access to our award-winning rankings. I'm number 3 overall right now over on Fantasy Pros this season for their accuracy challenge. We've of course got Mr. Dave Eddy, Chris Robin, Mark Strasburg, Alan, Keith Fleming, and then some, giving you DFS and betting advice over on our Discord, which honestly pays for itself. Like, those guys are cleaning house every single week, it feels like. So, and then you get all the other DFS projections and betting articles and then some over there at Fantasy Six-Pack. So, go over FantasySixPack.net/plans, become an all access member today. And so we're gonna just bring in our guest right away here. Justin, what's up, man?
Hey. Things are going well. Watching the Bears kick some Commanders' ass. It's been a lot of fun so far. DJ Moore has activated God mode. It's been a lot of fun tonight. We were talking before the show about him scoring two touchdowns in this game. There are seasons where he scores like 4. So DJ's coming for this league right now. It's absolutely fantastic to see.
I'm playing against him in King's Classic. Chris Prince is absolutely destroying me with him right now. So I hopefully can find something later this week to make up for it. I don't know. Probably not.
Jamie in the chat there, he's a regular on one of my shows. I know he's a big Roshan guy. I know he's hoping for the Bears to go up by like another couple of touchdowns here so Roshan can get some love.
Roshan's out with a concussion now.
What?
Yeah, he did get ruled out with a concussion.
Not great. Not ideal. Someone get a status check on Jamie.
Herbert, go Hokie day.
Yeah. Hey, I don't mind.
So, all right, man. So, I wasn't quite sure what order to do this, but I think I want to have some fun here first. And of course, Justin, I let you know this beforehand. We did our silly string picks last week. I don't know. We're still figuring this out. Last week for the first time ever. And so
that's what I said on the video. So that's what
so I did under on James Conner, like I forget what the numbers were. AJ went over on Devontae Adams, and our guest, Mike, wasn't here. He's our producer. So our guest, JJ Schultz, went with Godwin over, which of course got completely helped by Mike Evans going out. AJ was the only one to lose, and so if you lose, you have to get silly stringed on camera and post it. So we're gonna have some fun here. And we're going to show this video here now early. We'll make our picks for this week at the end. But I do want to put this video up now. See if I can make this work. There we go. All right. Y'all ready?
Hello. My name is @Applegarth Algar.
Great start.
Yeah.
This
Real
is
nice.
the hashtag silly string picks that I lost. Thank you, Devontae Adams, for scoring less than 16.06 points. I picked the over, and thanks to Jimmy G being gone, that did not happen. So now I lose, and I'm going to put these on for protection's sake while everybody sprays me with silly string.
I love it.
Yeah, that one was real good.
Right in the face.
Right.
The mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, love it. Oh, man. All right.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with my hand, the twitching there. So I guess I was just still.
Oh, it's so good, man.
A human doesn't know what to do with their hands when they get attacked by silly string. You know?
Exactly. It's just like
you're
I don't know what's going on.
You turned into Ricky Bobby during the interview.
What is
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Nights or whatever. Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff, man. So that'll be a good time. Everybody, man, jump in, join us. We're gonna make our picks for week 5 this week at the very, very end of the show. We'll post them on Twitter just like we did last week. Jump in, have some fun with us. Post your videos on Twitter. It's a good time. I know silly string probably getting silly string sucks, but let's be real. It's all fun. You get a good laugh out of it, right?
Terrible.
What?
Kids loved it.
It wasn't terrible. Yeah, the kids.
No, it's not terrible. And yeah,
it, so
whoever does it to you is gonna
what
laugh their
matters.
ass off, which is.
And it's really more for them, like the people that get to do it. They're the winners.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. This isn't for me. I'm not just losing because you know what? I really want to get silly string today. It's been a week, so yeah, why not?
It's been a week. Oh my god. All right. So anyway, Justin. So we're gonna be going through some of our rankings via some start sit scenarios that sorry, I guess we're gonna do our news first. I forgot I left those up top. We sometimes we flip it around, so I didn't have the schedule up right away. But so sorry, my bad. We're gonna go through some news first. Big news right off the top. We got a couple guys coming off IR. We'll start with Jonathan Taylor. There's rumors that he's going to be both of these guys, actually. So Jonathan Taylor, to start here, is going to be playing this week. What's your expectation for him and how this plays out? Zach Moss has been a beast, man. Like, what do you think? Like, is going to happen here? With this, Colts team, moving forward.
I don't love Jonathan Taylor this week. I think that he's still a potential buy candidate in fantasy leagues because this is when you're still going to get him at his lowest cost before he does any sort of producing on the field. The Titans have allowed the fourth fewest fantasy points to the running back position. So it's not a great matchup for him to, just come out and just, unleash the hounds and put up a ton of fantasy points. I still think that Zach Moss is very alive this week. I heard some rumblings that they might even look to trade Zach Moss with how well that he's been playing just because of how hungry the running back position is in this league right now. Like there's a couple of teams that are really in dire need. I like Jonathan Taylor going forward, so I like trying to buy him this week, potentially into next week, maybe off of a poor performance against the Titans. Again, Titans a very good matchup against the running back position. So if I own him, I'm looking to tread lightly. I'm really not trying to start him unless I'm in a dire need like the rest of the league. And, I've got guys on bye or I have other running backs hurt.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have him in, I believe, 2 leagues that I had him as keeper from last year. So I kind of lost out and was angry about it. I'm glad he's finally about to be back. Excited to see what he can do. And I think the presence of Richardson and knowing that he's got an ability to run as well, just makes it more of a dynamic offense. So I don't know if teams are just going to stack the box for both of them and then, get torched in the passing game, but we'll see how it pans out. I don't think if he's like healthy and can play this week, I'm not looking to start him, but next week for sure, I'll probably have him in my lineups.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of off both guys this year. Or this week. I mean, I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of wonder going forward. Like, I think this is where I struggle. Like, I just don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of people that think that Jonathan Taylor is just playing nice to get traded, right? Because, come on, let's be real. After 4 weeks of him being on the injured reserve, in who knows if he was actually injured or if this was just, the Colts doing their thing. Is he playing nice so that he can get traded? Because, like, look, if he holds out and he doesn't play, he can't get traded. He ruins his own trade value, right? And so maybe he's just doing this to, get on the field, play well. So I wonder also, like, if that's the case, the Colts have all the incentive in the world to play him more once he finally comes back. I think he's fully healthy. I'm not going to lie. So if he's actually in the game, I actually think he's going to get like 65% of the carries. Why would he not if he's not actually healthy? That being said, this week is a bad week. Titans are phenomenal against the run. He's probably hovering around like the outside 20-ish range for me this week. But going forward, I still just cannot quite wrap my head around what is going to happen with this Colts backfield. If Jonathan Taylor is still there, I think clearly it's him. If he somehow gets traded, Moss is going to be fine. But it's such a conundrum for people who roster him. Like, do you trade him now, or does somebody go buy? Like, he is a guy who I just am like, you know what? I just don't want it. I don't want that headache. So I didn't draft him anywhere, and I'm glad I didn't. And I just literally have no idea what to do with him going forward. I don't know if you guys agree with that. Like, his future and Moss's future, I don't know. It's really, really hard to predict.
I think he's going to play this season, whether it's with the Colts or with another team. I think you are right. I think either his agent or his people are probably saying, hey, man, like, if we want to get moved, like, we got to show these other teams and these other owners, like, we've got the goods. Like, we're still fine, and we can still move the chains, and the legs are ready to roll, So I agree with that. I think he does need to get on the field. And I think, like, it sounds like he's going to. Like, he's back in practice. You're right. He's playing nice. Everything seems calm right now, and maybe that is the method to get on another roster because he doesn't want anything to do with Indianapolis. I do think that the team is in a good position to improve with him on the field. I'm excited to see how the rest of the offense would work with him being more of a focal point of the distribution of touches. So I think the offense overall can be better, and the situation can be good for him and the other players if he does stick around. But again, if this is just a means, get on the field and then get moved, then yeah, I mean, the Colts in general are going to be a tough situation to gauge in all of fantasy, not just the running backs, but also Richardson going forward and even Michael Pittman.
Yeah. I mean, like, I've had tons of trade questions like, oh, do I trade for Jonathan Taylor? Do I trade Jonathan Taylor? Do I trade for Zach Moss? Do I I literally am like, I don't know. Because, like, we don't know, like, I can't.
There's a lot unseen. There's
a
lot to be seen
what's
from
going on
from the
behind
details
the scenes.
available.
Like, it's so hard, if this was just Jonathan Taylor coming off the IR and he's coming back, like, yeah, we know what's going on, but there's so much bad blood there. It feels like I just don't know. So Cooper Kupp here is the next player that I want to talk about real quick. And he's another guy who's coming off IR. Of course, he's got that hamstring injury, and this one is a little more cut and dry. Like, when he plays, the big question is, what's the effect he will have on Puka Nacua and to some degree Tutu Atwell?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I
it
think
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I
I didn't
think
say any.
Atwell's value just plummets completely. I think with the way this offense is built right now, Stafford's having a pretty decent year.
Mhm.
Nakua has just been phenomenal. I mean, he's been very Kupp-like in Kupp's absence, and I think he's going to continue to get the ball fed to him. As they work Kupp back in. I don't think Tutu's going to just immediately drop off. I think they need to work Kupp back in until he's comfortable enough, for the next game or so. This week, going up against the Eagles, it's a home game for LA. Eagles can be passed on. So I think that this could be a good game, like to get back into things for Kupp. But other than that, I think long term, Atwell is going to be the one who loses out the most.
Yeah, I echo the same sentiment. I am ready to fire up Cooper Kupp this week. He's practicing in full. The Eagles have allowed the second most fantasy points to the wide receiver position. So I'm actually expecting a very good outing for both Puka and Cooper Kupp in week 1. If Cooper Kupp comes out and plays 50% of the snaps, those are 50% of snaps that you want. It's Cooper Kupp. Like, he is one of the most elite players at the position. I'm not looking to fade him. It's not a comparable scenario to JT. I mean, if he's back and he's playing and he's healthy, I'm firing him up. Now, I'm sure there's some team somewhere where, you might have somebody ahead of him that you can start over Cooper Kupp this week. Yeah, I got to figure out how to get him into my lineup. I had a question the other night on my show about I have Puka and Cooper Kupp. I picked up Puka. I spent a lot on him to replace Cooper Kupp. So what do I do now? And the other guys that he had to start were like CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Waddle. And it's like, I figure out how to get Puka and Kupp into my lineup. I'll sit Waddle in that scenario. I'll sit the guy that only has 4 catches a game in each game so far, and that's a tough thing to say. Like, even as tough. I'm saying it again, like I got some, it feels like I got something stuck in my throat saying it, but
it was like Miami offense, man. They are balling out.
You never know. You never know.
Unfortunately.
But I also just trust that connection that Stafford and Kupp have. They have a lot of chemistry.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And Stafford doesn't have that with the rest of the roster. He has it actually, I think,
Puka.
after Cooper Kupp. I was gonna say Van Jefferson, the guy that he's played the most snaps with, at least in like live action.
He's
and those two
MIA
can't do anything. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah,
my thought with this real quick,
Jefferson.
because we got to get into the ranking stuff here. My thought with this real quick is that, yes, I agree. If Kupp plays, you're moving him in. You're not. I think Kupp takes the Puka Nacua role back, because that's what he's been doing. That's
whose role it is. He took. You're right. Yeah, that's whose role.
Then maybe takes like the Robert Woods role. Maybe he starts playing something different. Like, they can't both do the same thing, right? So they've got to figure out how to get both these guys. But you can't take Puka off the field. He's been so good.
Yeah.
Tutu's been good too. So I don't know how you get all 3 of these guys off the field.
This week, I think you start them all. This week, I do think you start them all. But there's going to be weeks going forward you cannot.
Of course.
Like this matchup, like the Eagles will put up points, easy. That's no problem. But they also have just been Like, look at what the Commanders just did.
Right.
Stafford and the Rams should be just fine.
Although, of course, Sam Howell just ran in for a touchdown.
No, 2 points.
Logan Thomas touchdown.
Logan Thomas.
Was that Logan Thomas?
Yeah, that was a little bit more forgiving to my lineups.
Howell ran in, but it was a 2-point try.
Oh, sorry. I'm not watching, obviously. I just saw the replay. Didn't realize we went for 2. Yeah. So anyway, let's jump into our rankings talk via some start-sit scenarios that our producer, Mike LaPlante, made up for us. So, voice in the sky, let's do it.
All right, we're starting it off with a injured quarterback here, but hey, everybody's got him. Joe Burrow at Arizona, or are we just going to play it safe and go Brock Purdy versus Dallas, even though that's not a safe matchup? You can start it off, Justin.
Yeah, so Dallas has allowed the fewest fantasy points to the quarterback position, so it is not an easy decision here. I still like the Bengals to pounce the Cardinals this week. This offense has to get flowing. Burrow's been playing hurt, so my suspicion is that despite playing hurt, he's still getting better. And so I'm going to go back to him this week. When I'm looking at some of the numbers, when I'm looking at his passing attempts, he was not really able to get as high a volume against the heavy running teams in, say, Cleveland and last week up against Tennessee. I took the Titans last week to clean up, cover the spread, money line. I just did not think it was a good matchup for an aiding Joe Burrow and that offense. Titans are just sneaky on defense for some reason. So the fact that they were able to run the ball a lot, Cleveland was able to run the ball a lot in week 1. Burrow wasn't able to get up to that high passing volume. He didn't exceed 40 passing attempts. In week 2, I believe he hit 41, and in week 3, he hit 49. Now in week 3, he didn't throw a touchdown, but he did have 1 interception. So he's got 2 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the season. I don't really want to blink at this. I still want to chase the matchup here. I like Purdy, but I still see that game specifically, the Niners and Dallas, probably being more low scoring than, say, the Bengals and the Cardinals this week. So I'm going to go with Burrow here. Again, kind of feels tough, but I'm going to trust the process. It's Joe Burrow, generational talent at the quarterback position. I'm going to lean into him. I'll chase the volume and I'll chase the matchup.
I like it. Joe, you got to follow it up. Sorry.
I completely agree everything that Justin just said. There's not a whole lot else to add there. I mean, the matchup basically calls it all. I know Burrow's been struggling hard, but the other thing, the coach could be coach speak, but he's not even on the injury report now. So that's really good news, right?
He says he's feeling better. Like, I don't what does that mean?
But it's not
like,
on the injury report. So
what kind of tagline is that? Like, media, like,
know.
oh, he says he's feeling better. Like, no shit, he says that. Like, what else is he gonna say?
Yeah.
Things
But
are
if you're not,
pretty good
if you're
right
at least
now.
not on the injury report, like, look, doctors will know. They can tell. So, like, you're not on the injury report. That's a much better sign than it was before. So, he's got to perform better, right? It sucks. He's not gonna have T Higgins, so that does blow. But Tyler Boyd's all right.
Tyler Boyd's good,
He's
man.
a good fill-in.
He is.
He's definitely a solid receiver 3 on that team, and when he steps up as the 2, he's been good.
Absolutely.
He's kind of my kryptonite for like late round receiver picks in drafts, because I just look at him, I'm like, oh yeah, he's gonna have games, so I go after him.
He's also one of those rare wide receiver handcuffs a little bit. Great example, T Higgins right now, because the offense is going to pass. But go on.
Exactly. I agree. I'm going with Joe Burrow on this one too. You guys said it all. So
yeah, that was a lot of great points. And trust the matchup. It's a get right game for him. All right, Joe, you get to start us off with our second one here. Another struggling quarterback and another tough matchup. Trevor Lawrence in London across the pond against Buffalo, or CJ Stroud, the hot rookie, against Atlanta.
I'm actually going with CJ Stroud. Lawrence has not performed very well. He's not been horrible, but he hasn't done what we all thought he was going to do, myself included. And Buffalo just shut down this completely dominant Miami offense last week. Jacksonville's in London for the second week in a row. That's got to affect them, right? I gotta imagine they probably stayed there for the week, but it's still brutal.
I'm sure they
like.
What
How the hell? Like,
if they didn't, that's absurd.
It's the stupidest
Hey
decision.
guys, we're gonna go back to Florida.
But you're talking about a defense for the Bills that has allowed the least amount of points to quarterbacks. I just, right now, my rankings actually have the way that it kind of played out. Actually, have Lawrence ahead. I'm thinking that's going to swap by Sunday morning. There's no way. Like, my quick Thursday update didn't, I make sure the Thursday players are in lock where I want them. But Stroud's been on fire, man. I will take, I will eat crow on this one. Stroud is proving me wrong big time. And Atlanta, they aren't horrible against the pass, but they're not good, either. So very middle of the road. So Stroud's gonna make them work. I think AJ, you next.
Yeah, I like Stroud as well. Lawrence, I actually benched him last week, thinking that Danny Dimes was going to have a good game, and he did not. So that's where my fun is. But yeah, Lawrence, I mean, he has been disappointing this year. He's just not really been, what everybody went after him for. He was one of the top 8, top 10 quarterbacks easily, that were getting drafted, especially in, your Scott Fish and, 2 quarterback type leagues and everything.
I saw Lawrence going ahead of Herbert in so many leagues toward the end of draft season. And in King's Classic, he went ahead of Herbert. And we got Herbert in both King's Classic because of that.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious. I had Herbert way ahead of Lawrence as far as projections. So the fact that Lawrence was getting snagged ahead of Herbert, me and Keith a lot were like,
that's sensationalizing like hot takes. You know what I mean? Like taking him when you don't need to take him, when you can wait for him to come down. I saw a very similar situation with Deshaun Watson. Like I was seeing him coming up to like pick 6 in super flex drafts. I'm like, guys, like you can get him in the start of the second. So like why do it? Like why overreach with like your first couple of picks? It doesn't make any sense.
People just want to be the guy to be right.
Yeah.
Prove everybody wrong. And
exactly. And
it's
they're not right now.
It's bad drafting. And I always tell people that, like, don't overdraft. Like, just play. I know you might miss on a guy here and there because he's supposed to fall and he might not, but like you'd be better off not reaching than.
I think Lawrence will be okay, as the season goes on, but I just don't like him against this defense this week. Even if it is at their second home in London there. I definitely like Stroud.
Fairly well up there, but yeah.
So I'm going to echo the same sentiment as you guys. Stroud has been my streamer pick for the last 2 weeks, and the week before that was Baker Mayfield. So on a little bit of a heater, but I'm also cherry picking CJ Stroud because he's performed well in back-to-back performances, and he has at least 2 passing touchdowns in 3 straight games. He didn't perform well against Baltimore in Baltimore. Zero. What's that?
Interceptions.
Oh, yeah. 0 interceptions. He has 6 passing touchdowns, no interceptions, and over 900 passing yards. I want to say he's 3rd or 4th in the league in passing yards right now. It's super impressive. But I will say this about Lawrence and the Jags this week. Getting off the schneid is always a very underwhelming hot take. You don't necessarily want to go with that angle, but these guys have been on a little boys trip in London this past week. I'm going to imagine they got up to some good times, and it wasn't like the Ted Lasso version of watching a movie in the hotel together. You know what I mean? Like I'm certain these guys are doing something to get going this week, to get the juices flowing. I'm not familiar with Europe or London. I'm not hip to the strip club scene there, but I got to imagine they're giving themselves a James Harden treatment. Like they're going out, having a good time together to get off the schneid, knowing they got the Bills coming to town that they now own, according to them. Beating Atlanta.
Oh Lord! All right.
So I'm just going to say a few nice things about him. Like don't completely discount the Jags this week, but at least in this question, I'm starting Stroud for sure.
Yeah, Jamie, Khalil Herbert down.
No,
that's no bueno.
No. Twisted up the
He's gonna
leg
run the ball.
on reception.
I saw that. It's like his own thing. He like reached back for it and like
they can't lean on Foreman because he's been a healthy scratch for the last 3-4 weeks.
Interesting. All righty. Next up.
Well, I was running backs. I'm shocked they gave Buffalo home field here. Jaguars have played so many times in London. It might as well be.
Anyway.
But on to the running backs here. All right, AJ, you get to start it off. Breece Hall in a juicy matchup against the Broncos, or Rhamondre Stevenson versus the Saints. Now, full disclosure, I did make these decisions before the news came out about Breece Hall getting a bigger workload. So I feel like that makes it a little bit easier of a decision, at least in my opinion. But AJ, start us off.
Well, I hadn't heard that news, so I was going to lean on Breece anyways. And it hurts me to say that because you know how much I love saying, Car Ramrod for Rhamondre, but the Patriots have just been garbage so far this year. Bill Belichick is, not what we're used to seeing when he had Brady. And Breece Hall he wants the ball. He wants to do this and wants to run. Cook hasn't really made much of a dent there. So I think this is Hall's chance. And against a Denver team that Miami completely decimated for 18 rushing touchdowns and 3,000 yards, I believe it was, in that 70-0. That math still works.
Yeah, it does.
I'm going with Breece.
I agree. Broncos allowed the most fantasy points to the running back position. Figure that out. Rhamondre also just a shell of himself, like the entire offense in general for the Patriots. Super underwhelming. I don't know if you guys have a clue who the starting quarterback is this week. I called for Mac Jones to be out of this starting job by week 5. I said they would be 0-5. They do have the one win up against the Jets.
Yeah.
When I made the prediction, I wasn't, obviously predicting Aaron Rodgers wouldn't be in the lineup. So I still think that the narrative plays. They do get the Saints this week, and it could be a low-scoring, okay matchup, if you're sitting at home watching the game. But as far as fantasy goes, I'm kind of off of this game in general. There's definitely some players I want to start that I need to have in my lineups, but having Rhamondre in there is not a must. So Breece Hall, very easy in this situation. Again, with that news, workload is coming back, or at least an uptick in touches. I think Dalvin Cook and Breece are still both very active this week because it's the Broncos defense. It's Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson might be a sneaky start this week. He played okay up against the Chiefs, against a defense that's actually been kind of sneaky good. But again, I want to invest in this game, but I don't want to overinvest. Breece Hall is a very good option to get there. I think Cook is still a little bit more risky based off of just his lack of decent, respectable per touch production.
Yeah, I'm with you guys right now. Right now, my rankings actually have Stevenson a little higher, but it's minuscule higher. So I'm those will likely change by Sunday. Again, the Thursday quick update sometimes doesn't factor everything in. I focus more on the Thursday players a little bit more, for obvious reasons. You got to make sure they're right. The projections always aren't, fully in for the Sunday guys, and then some. So, but yeah, everything you guys said is pretty spot on.
Yeah, I feel like that news of the workload definitely made that question a little easier. That's my bad. I'll take the blame. On to the next one, though.
It's still close.
On to the next one.
Still legit. It's gonna be close.
Yeah,
it's just Zeke is just eating into that volume that we thought Rhamondre was going to be getting.
Look, that also may
that's never the case
actually happen, right? I mean,
right.
They could say that, but.
But who at home, at least in the fantasy community, was like, oh yeah, gonna be a bell cow season for Rhamondre, for a Patriots running back, coached by Bill Belichick. No, I don't think anyone was expecting that regardless.
True.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the same time though, Breece Hall has already surpassed Dalvin Cook.
Oh, easily. But they won't stop giving Dalvin the ball though. The touches are there.
Yeah, but so what are they talking about? They're gonna give him an extra 3 or 4 touches. I mean, I know that matters, but how much are they talking about giving him? That's what we still need to see.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm interested in seeing this Monday night matchup because the next group of guys we have here is Aaron Jones, who struggled last week, and gets a good matchup against the Raiders. Or do you go with the safe, reliable James Conner in a much better matchup against the Bengals? Justin, all yours.
I have the matchups pretty even. Cincinnati allowing the 16th fewest fantasy points to running backs, and Aaron Jones going up against the Raiders, who have allowed the 14th most. So kind of middle of the run there. I think, in a vacuum, I'm picking Aaron Jones, but taking a look at the context of the situation, AJ Dillon having a role, there not being any real rhyme or reason to the play calling in Green Bay, that leaves me a little less likely to lean towards Aaron Jones this week. I think I am going to go with the safer floor, and James Conner does have 2 rushing touchdowns through 4 games. He was kind of played out of the game narrative last week. I just think that them being down from or a lot of points, that was just going to take him out of the game, playing up against San Francisco. I think this week it's a little bit closer, at least. I don't know if the Bengals completely run away with it. So I'll take James Conner. healthy, not questionable, practicing in full. I know Aaron Jones, he's getting the limited work. He had limited work last week and still played, but obviously underwhelming. And we're just not sure how healthy he is right now. So I'll go with the safer floor and James Conner.
Joe?
I agree. I mean, they're back to back in the rankings right now for me. So with James Conner just slightly higher, it's pick your poison. It's I don't think either one of the matchups is super great. Just because of the offenses sometimes, and then Aaron Jones, like you said, Justin, coming off the injury, just didn't look good last week. Granted, the game script didn't help him at all. They got blown out, but I'm little more leaning James Conner.
Yeah, of these guys, it is splitting hairs for me too, but I'm gonna go with Jones. I just think he's the better talent overall. Matchups kind of don't really matter in this because, like you guys said, they're pretty equal. I think if Green Bay, wants to come out of the gates, they need to come out of the gates hot, and they need to get Jones more involved in this offense if they're going to succeed. Last week was Watson's first game back too, so he didn't do a whole lot. He had the touchdown that kind of saved him in fantasy, but he's gonna have to be a focal point, and I think Jones has to be a focal point for this offense to really just get off the ground running. So I'm gonna lean Jones on this one.
Joe, would you start Aaron Jones if you played DJ Moore? Is that the way to start him?
Oh man, why you gotta humanity down? I'm getting whacked.
Feeling good, man. Moore. Hey, my running backs are hurt, so I got to take the wins where I can here. DJ Moore 6 for 142 and 2 touchdowns. My God,
first quarter, right?
No, they're in the third.
All right, I need to feel better about myself. I need to. Oh, there it is. It's the F6P league where my Bondi Boucher's Water Boys. Started Sam Howell. That sucked.
Got a touchdown.
Samuel. He's done absolutely nothing. But DJ Moore, 29.2 points. So yeah,
there you go.
There we go. That all averages out to. Okay.
Who's winning that league right now?
Not me. I'm 2-2.
Who's winning the league right now?
You, I guess.
Me, yeah. 4-0, baby.
Don't smoke crack. And you have the most points for, so.
Yes, I do. It's not like it's luck. I'm smoking people, baby. All right. Receiver time.
I was going to say, yep. Since we're talking about DJ Moore, it's a great transition. All right. So this one, Justin, since you're new to this, we get 3 receivers. You get to start 2, sit 1. And I wanted to have a little fun with this one and throw 2 guys at you that gave you goose eggs last week.
Mm-hmm.
Deebo Samuel.
Devontae Adams.
No, he just gave you a goose egg.
Not quite.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel versus the Cowboys. Chris Olave versus the Patriots, or Calvin Ridley in that tough matchup against the Bills.
It's sit Ridley. I'm not playing him against the Bills right now. That Bills secondary is just so good.
Are you at all? Does Tre'Davious White being out change your opinion?
A little bit, but
because it's not trending. I don't think it's been confirmed, or has it been confirmed that he is out for the season, but there was the fear.
Look, I still think, so here's my thing. So with Deebo, right? I know, I was off Deebo last week, and I ended up being right on that, thankfully. But after they gave so many touches to CMC last week, they've got to spread the wealth out a little bit, and the way to do that is give a little dump off to Deebo, let him do his thing, right? We've seen it work time and time again, right? So let him do his thing. That's why I think he's going to do well, even against a really, really good Dallas defense. I think Olave, even against a respectable New England defense is going to be fine. So he's, I think, like the no-brainer out of this one. Deebo and Ridley, to me, it's like, I don't know. There's just something about this Buffalo defense after they just did what they did to Miami and that electric offense that just put up 70 points, and nobody expected them to do that again. But like, man, once they got to like 21, it was like, never mind, you're done. They just shut them down. So that's why, and really, honestly, just he hasn't been good since week 1. Yeah, he scored last week, but that was really it. It was a broken play too. It was like he just sort of like slipped out behind everybody, and he hasn't done anything since week 1, really. So,
all right, AJ, before I let you go, you can't make this stuff up. All right, the Bears' third running back on the roster, Travis Homer, is questionable return with a hamstring.
Herbert.
I'm pretty sure Justin Fields is the only running back left.
No, they've got
Blazagame.
Oh, the fullback. Good call.
Yeah, that guy. I'm a Bears guy, so I mean, I got the lowdown. I
forgot about him.
They did have Herbert was on the sidelines rushing, or not rushing, but like
running,
get
moving. Well, it's good that they learned the push this week. I'm glad that they got Jalen Hurts on the Zoom call and learned how to do the push. That was excellent. Yeah. So now they don't need a running back. They just need a push.
Just do the brother.
It's got to get the third and 1.
That's all you need to do.
Move.
Yeah, they're not even waiting for fourth down. They're like, "No, we're doing this on second and third. We're good."
What the hell? How? Oh my god!
What?
Don't die, Sam.
Yeah.
What? Dude, there's like, what is happening? Somebody has to be open, but no. Sam Howell just decided to run like crazy. Good man. Like, okay. All right.
As
so next question, or did anybody else?
No, it's AJ's turn.
My turn.
Oh my god.
It's still AJ's.
I have no idea what's happening. I'm watching.
Okay.
This is what happens when my team actually plays on Thursday nights. I don't pay attention.
Man, I think I'm gonna sit Deebo. Yeah, I mean, Olave's got the best matchup of all of them, obviously. But Ridley, I mean, he's still getting his. I still feel like, when Trevor Lawrence has been good, it's been because of Ridley. Last week, only 2 receptions. Week before that, maybe he hasn't been that good.
He hasn't.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Now that I'm looking at him, I don't have any ownership shares, so I'm like tracking down everything to try to find him.
A few too many. Week 1 was awesome. I was like, oh man, I struck gold.
Yeah, week 1 was real nice.
I'm gonna go with Deebo as my sit though as well though. I mean, I think that Ridley still is in a good situation because, like Joe, you kind of hit it on the head. Like he actually didn't have a great game last week, and typically coming off of like bad games, he's playing well, and he's still getting a lot of targets. And I like Deebo a lot. But Elijah Mitchell wasn't healthy last week. I think he's a little bit more healthy this week. I think that CMC does get a little bit more relief. I was scooping up like, sneaky, give me like Jordan Mason on the side here. Let me get him for free. I'm sure he'll get like 7 carries. No. We're going to get CMC the ball. We're just going to let him just ride it out. Cardinals, we don't care. So I still think that Deebo is going to be okay this week. I like all of these guys, but Deebo going up against the Dallas defense, I just don't love. I like Ayuk more personally as like a receiver. Deebo's like targets just aren't really of as high value in my opinion. I like Olave to potentially score a touchdown, and I like Ridley to also potentially score a touchdown again. So it's very tough. These guys are all very close, but I think just the Dallas matchup alone, it just scares me a little bit too much to like fully confident say, oh yeah, Deebo for sure. Like he might get 3 carries, but they're not going to be in the red zone. Why would they waste a red zone carry on Deebo when they've got CMC? You know what I mean? Like he'd have to break one. Like, if they give him a carry, he's got to break it open. He's got to make a big couple of chunk plays or bring one to the house.
Yeah.
I agree.
He was practicing.
It's a lot. It's very close anyway, for Deebo and Ridley to me.
Deebo was limited.
Yeah, he.
I didn't know that.
Knee and ribs. He practiced on a limited basis today.
That should make it easier. I feel like given the matchup as well.
All right, next
so
up.
it sounds like if he's active, he's not going to be 100%. So That was the pick.
Yep.
Oh,
okay,
we have a
confirmed.
question actually. I think
Oh,
we
yeah.
missed this.
Yeah,
PPR
I haven't
league.
been
I
paying
offered
attention to the
Waddle.
comments.
Should I offer Waddle and Tank Dell for Keenan Allen?
I like Tank so much, but Waddle's just
actually-
not getting the volume. Like
Yeah.
he's ready for a
actually
couple of
think
big
that might
plays.
be all right for you.
Well, he probably picked up Tank off a waiver, so I'm good with it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I do. I like it.
I would do it.
What's funny is people
after
were
this week.
drafting Waddle ahead of Allen, and I was like, yeah, Allen's gonna beast this year. I kind of had a feeling. I loved it. I have a few shares of Allen because he was just falling farther than I thought he should, and so I was grabbing him
Absolutely.
a little early. But all right, next up,
I was gonna
Yep.
say let's keep the wide receiver talk going here, and we got a couple guys here that can just explode in 1 week. And AJ, you can start it off. George Pickens versus the Baltimore Ravens. Gabe Davis versus the Jaguars, or Christian Watson after the second game back against the Raiders. Who you sitting?
Whew. I think Baltimore-Pittsburgh's always a tough, hard-fought game. I think Pickens is going to be involved. Just based on that, Pickett was questionable earlier this week. It sounds like he's healthy now. I'm probably sitting Gabe Davis. He just hasn't really done much for me overall in general. He's always just been a boom or bust guy. I think this could be another week where he just completely fizzles out. Jacksonville's defense was good last week. Obviously, it was against much lesser talent on offense, but yeah, I'm sitting Davis. I think.
To be fair,
Yeah.
To be fair, I did give you all just boom and bust players right here.
Well, yeah, true. But I think, again, as I said earlier in the running back section, I think Watson needs to get going. They've got to focus on getting him, more involved now that he's healthy. And I already said my piece on Pickens. So of the three, I think I'm sitting Gabe.
I'm going to sit Christian Watson. I like the opportunity for Pickens. I think he probably has the most targets this week of this group. We've seen him already get double-digit targets, and he's a big play receiver, so I'll take him as the first guy that I want to start. And I'm going to go Gabe Davis as well. I just don't like any of the other weapons after Stephon Diggs in this offense, and James Cook as well. After those guys, Dalton Kincaid is not what was advertised whatsoever. Shout out to everybody who was patient and waited for Dawson Knox at the end of their drafts. Kincaid hasn't been it.
Dawson Knox has seen 1 target the last 2 weeks, by the way.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So that's
tight ends for you.
That's not
I'll
working
live
either.
off of that. I'll live off of that. And Sam Laporta's tight end 4, so
Yeah,
whatever.
no, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I that was my big thing. Was like, hey, why would you draft Dalton Kincaid at tight end 12 when you can draft Sam Laporta at tight end 17? Like, doesn't make sense given the situations. But anyway,
hey Mike, you remember all the rookie mocks that we did, and who took the first tight end or the second tight end off the board, and it was always Sam Laporta, and everybody's like, "What the hell are you doing?"
That's good man. Whoever did that.
Thankfully,
but
those
no,
good thing those were mocks and not my real.
I don't love Christian
Oh,
Watson.
God,
though.
DJ
Like,
Moore
only-
died.
Talking about.
Hey, whoa,
Step out.
whoa!
Come on,
with the dying talk.
Yeah,
The man's
easy
trying to
there.
hit 2 hundo. The man's trying to hit 2 hundo.
Come on.
Okay.
Fine,
Trying to put in a
just
quarter of that
twist the
season
ankle and-
He
total.
didn't even step
go sit on
out.
the sideline. He did. He said that about.
I didn't see it.
That's a biased opinion.
Oh, there's
in my
Blasey game.
opinion.
Blasey game rushing. Nice.
Oh my god.
I did get an
I
update. that,
will say
Khalil
Gabe
Herbert
Davis. I
did
just
come in for
noticed.
a play.
noticed
So
that he is,
I know, Justin, you were making a lot of good points there, but I'm actually gonna agree with AJ here and say Gabe Davis. I just,
fair.
3 targets a game ain't doing it for me. I think Watson's a little more healthy, and he's gonna have a much better matchup here with against the Raiders, and he's gonna start getting going soon.
Now that I say that, Gabe Davis has scored 3 straight touchdown games.
But that's dude. If he doesn't
that was
score,
all he did. And
basically, if he doesn't score, he doesn't do anything. That's
yeah,
kind of the thing.
That's just why I like him though, because they're looking his way. Allen's giving him that attention still, and those are big strikes. Like those aren't like some like broken plays. Like those are big throws downfield. And if it hasn't been Stephon Diggs, it's been Gabe Davis. So
Yeah.
I mean, look,
I
I
just don't
get
like-
the opportunities there. My problem with Gabe Davis, he's so unpredictable.
Well, I would say that I would argue the same thing for the Packers play calling. Like Romeo Dubes has actually been the guy.
I
Like
agree.
he's been
You're
their
right.
best receiver,
I agree.
period. And I don't love Jaden Reed, but they're going to keep him involved. They're going to keep Watson. I feel like on a slower progression because LaFleur is given throw, what we would consider logic to the wind, right? Like I'm gonna do whatever, If you've been watching like Winning Time on HBO, it's kind of like the Paul Westhead approach, like trust the system, trust it. see how that worked out in terms of history.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two where I it's weird to say that like I trust Pickens more than all these guys, but I do. Davis and Watson, I kind of wish you had other options. If you had to pick two out of these three, though, it is going to be Gabe Davis. I've just kind of been off of him for a while. He's super boom bust. I mean, first week, 2 catches, 32 yards.
The other two have better matchups on paper. Like as far as like fantasy points allowed, Baltimore 14th most to receivers, Vegas Raiders 13th most to receivers. So like they're up there. Jacksonville, I feel like the numbers are kind of like, they're kind of slighted after the Atlanta game because like it's Atlanta, it's Desmond Ridder. So they're 11th fewest, or I'm sorry, 12th fewest. So it's not the best matchup.
It's close. So
yeah.
All right. Last receiver question, Mike.
All right, Justin, you get to finish off the receivers here. Tyler Boyd against Arizona. Jerry Jeudy against the Jets. Or Jordan Addison against the Chiefs.
I don't like saying it because I was very high on him this year. I'm going to say Jerry Jeudy against the Jets. I don't love the matchup. I don't love Russ Wilson. This team feels like it's more concentrated on tanking than it is winning. All of the Sean Payton, Caleb Williams kind of tweets and reminders everybody's kind of starting to bring up here. So I don't love the Broncos. Also been another situation where there's been, no consistency in like the touches and the distribution, whether it be running backs, receivers, Johnson catching multiple touchdowns, Cortland Sutton soaking up all the touchdowns. JJ is going to need a couple of big plays, and I don't know if they're going to be there up against the Jets this week. Boyd, very safe floor up against the Cardinals. Addison, I think he is the next guy that could potentially be out just because that offense is flowing exactly how I predicted. It was going to be all Justin Jefferson, all TJ Hawkinson. Those are your top two guys, kind of similar to what we are accustomed to with like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. We're seeing something similar, but Addison has poked his head into the production room a few times here. I like that matchup. Minnesota allowing the second most receiving yards for this season, so I'll take Addison there. I think he could find himself in pay dirt this week.
Yeah. All right. Joe.
Oh, sorry, I'm next. I thought we were going the other way. I don't know why. I'm sitting Addison out of these two, or out of these three. Look, Kansas City's actually been sneaky good against the pass. Fifth least number of points against receivers. Look, Addison has basically been good off the deep ball. Like he catches one like deep pass every game. If he scores, he's good. If he doesn't, then he's kind of out. And last week he saw one target. That was weird. I don't think he does that again. I think he gets back more involved in this offense. But Kansas City's going to be a tough matchup for him. Look, I know the Jets are going to be tough for Jeudy as well. Boyd's going to get Arizona. That's Boyd's Boyd. Like he's okay, decent matchup. Like Boyd can also, Boyd can go off for like 2 touchdowns or 2 catches. Like it's kind of what he does, right? That's kind of him. Judy's sort of the safer, like they're gonna feed him the ball. But Denver, I think Denver and New York is gonna be a pretty low scoring game in my opinion. So Jeudy and Addison, I think, are a little closer than it should be. But I think Addison is the one I'm cutting out.
Finish her off, AJ.
I'm cutting out Jeudy. I mean, the Jets defense is still very solid. I think that's going to be like a just slugfest, ugly turd of a game. So, Sutton's been very good, so far. I know Judy's been banged up and whatnot, but Sutton's been putting up solid numbers. I think he's still going to be the main go-to. Jeudy's starting to see more targets, but just not a lot of yardage built in. He has yet to find the end zone, so I'm sitting him. I think Addison gets back involved this week. This is going to be a big game. High scoring potential with these two offenses. So I like Addison's chances in there. And Boyd, yeah, we already talked about. So
All
We
right.
have another question before we jump into our last start sit here. We got sober money in Dynasty PPR Superflex. Would you trade Kyler Murray, Jalen Waddle, and a second round pick for Anthony Richardson and Addison?
It depends on my
This-
record, to be honest.
This is super close. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you, Justin. I'm trying to win this year. I think I might do it because I'm not sure Kyler plays.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. I guess I would prefer a third. If you can clean it up a little bit, I would try maybe start that with a third. Maybe they hit accept if they like it. If you know they're
I haven't
a
won
Kyler
a game
fan.
yet, so
Ouch.
sober. I don't know
So-
which side you're on.
So your second round pick is actually kind of valuable. Yeah, I would still try to
If-
start with the
if you're
third.
the
Like
one
you're
trading the
picking
pick.
early in the second, so I don't.
Yeah, I would say if you're the one trading the second round pick, I think I pass because Kyler's gonna land somewhere. Waddle next year could be Tyreek Hill. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like Tyreek says he's gonna retire, so like he could be so good. He says, but I own my first though. It doesn't matter, man. Your second round. If you ever want to game, your
That's pick
second round pick,
13. Like if you're in a 12-team league, that's pick 1 and pick 13. Like
Yeah,
next year's
that's
draft is going to be
super
loaded
valuable.
with quarterbacks.
yeah, it's super
like-
valuable. I mean, so I'd keep it. I know Richardson's been enticing. I still think he's got a lot of flaws to his game though. He's almost Justin Fields-esque, maybe slightly better so far. Addison is always going to be underneath Justin Jefferson's shadow as long as he's in Minnesota. So he's never going to have the ceiling that we all hope he could. So
Most likely you'll draft like
Would be
Marvin Harrison Jr.
112.
with your first pick and then a quarterback with your second. You know what I
Well,
mean? Like
in a super flex, no, probably not. In a super flex,
Other way
quarterbacks
around?
are flying.
other way
The
around.
quarterbacks will go first,
I guess you'd have to take
especially
Caleb
Caleb and all those guys.
Well, if
like
Caleb-
those,
if
those
Caleb
guys,
goes,
those guys will fly off.
that would be
one.
the pick for sure if Caleb goes. But old buddy's talking about sticking around.
Yeah, maybe
Like,
we'll
he's
see.
going to call his shot. He's
Yeah,
not going to play for the Bears.
You might not do if Justin Fields does this every week. Anyway,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Oh yeah.
what do you want to have happen?
I mean,
You wanna
yeah,
have
what-
Caleb?
Did
No,
you?
as a Bears fan, I want the course to correct itself right now, obviously. But I just feel like we're so much better than we are than what we've produced. Like the results just aren't there. We've invested in a passing offense, and we didn't want to pass the ball. We invested in Justin Fields by not getting rid of him and holding him rather than moving him and trying to take Stroud or Bryce Young. So in that, why not use him to his best ability? Like they weren't using any design runs. They still barely are. Like they went away from what they were good at last year, and then they didn't improve on what they were supposed to improve on in the passing game. The whole Chase Claypool situation is just baffling to me. Like, I mean, yeah, obviously he doesn't like it there. He's going to leave, but
He's saying
It was
the
mind-boggling.
second,
As soon as
the
it happened, I
second
was
round
like,
pick
they did
is
what?
the 212.
yeah, no, it's terrible.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
unless, I would agree. I'd still try to push for a third. I don't dislike going for it.
No, I like the trade. I mean, if you
Yeah.
if you feel like in your gut you have to do this trade, then I guess so. But I just feel like that second round pick is going to be valuable to you.
Yeah, I mean, he's saying the second round pick would be 212, so maybe it's not snake. But if
How-
that's not the case, then
You
you're
need to get
doing
out
a
of that
dynasty league wrong.
yeah, then you need to get out of that league.
Yeah, your rookie draft should be like normal
NFL rookie draft.
style drafts where it's 1 to 1 to 1.
They're ripping you off, pal.
AJ, I don't know who this is.
Cecil County Chicklets. Am I not seeing the poop? You mean
this poop? There we go. Okay.
You mean this poop?
My 3D printed loser trophy.
Nice. Is that one of your buddies, AJ? Yeah. Love it. All right. Let's do the last question here and close this out. Mike, come on.
Yeah, we saved the best for last. Tight ends. Nah.
Yeah, of course. Perfect.
Right,
perfect segue. Poop to tight ends.
They're the easiest ones to pick.
Joe, you can just start us off here.
Depends on how tight they are.
We have Darren Waller at the Dolphins, Miami. Well, Miami Dolphins. Or Zach Ertz against the Bengals.
That's ugly.
Oh.
That's ugly.
I'm going Waller. Look, I talked about this a little bit. I know I hate it too. I hate both of them. Not hate both of them, but
let's put Kyle Pitts in the conversation too. Let's make 3.
Look, I get the.
He was in last week's.
Like, I get the fact that people are
who on the waiver wire are you going after instead?
Poop emojis on Waller. The problem, the fact of it is that he still is like 6th highest. I forget all the stats that I pulled. Like he's very high up there in targets for tight ends. He's actually high up there in yards. He just hasn't scored. If he had scored 1 touchdown, he'd be tight end 12. If he scored 2 touchdowns, he'd be tight end like 6. Like he is behind guys that, like Jonnu Smith. He's behind tight ends in the tight end rankings, for the season that have just scored random touchdowns. But he is still getting targets. I know they're not, it's not what we all wanted. It's not all what we expected. But he's still getting those targets. And look, Miami's defense is not top notch by any means. They've been okay. It's weird to look at like points per game by tight ends. Nobody's tight ends are good. Don't even worry about those. Just play your best tight end and move on.
Because Cole Kmet's a top 5 tight end this year. Top 5.
Well, after he plays the Commanders a few more times.
Yeah. He also had a 2 touchdown game. Was it last week or the week before?
Yeah, last week.
Yeah. So 3 touchdowns.
Again, he's going to score touchdowns, and then that's going to do it.
Well, he's the second best receiver on the
Kelsey
team.
Or Hawk.
5 for 42.
It's, those guys, it's all touchdown based at this point.
Mm-hmm. No, you're not wrong. And I am going to agree with you here. I'm going to go with Waller as well. Miami allowing the 8th most fantasy points to the tight end position. When's it going to happen? I'm hoping this week. If we can get some Dan Jones, Darren Waller preseason action this week, that would be fantastic. Oh, yeah, we had to take him off the field. Dan just wouldn't stop throwing to him. Yeah, I would love some of that treatment this upcoming week. I mean, Zach Ertz is a bubble waiting to pop, in my opinion. Like, I still feel like Trey McBride is the better guy. That's my opinion. Obviously, what does it mean? I don't coach the Cardinals. I think I could do a half-decent job, but whatever. I don't know. I just feel like Zach Ertz is just, it's kind of like the Hunter Henry production of the first couple of weeks. Oh, wow. A couple of catches.
We have a Curtis Samuel sighting in the end zone.
Hey, he's alive.
Thank you.
He's alive. And Sam Howell on the back on the board. And probably they're about to go for what, 1? Or do you think they're going to go for 2?
They're 14. They'll go for 1, right? Well, no, they'll go for 2, so they'll go down by 8.
2-score game either way.
Sam Howell turned out to be
no.
If nice, they go for nice play.
If they go for 2, it'll be 30-22.
Right.
So it'll be a 1-score game because
okay. You're right.
Math.
What do you think they're going for?
Get in there. Oh God, I hate math. Throw it. No, what are you doing, you jackass?
Dude, you guys are like 15 seconds ahead of me, apparently.
Yeah, I think you are. Same here. I was like, what are you talking about?
Does that count as...
Apparently they don't make it.
Does that count as an interception?
No.
Did they bring it back? You can bring a 2-pointer back
No,
for 2 points.
He didn't bring it back. He got.
I don't
Oh my
know. Has that
gosh.
happened yet?
Not this year.
I think it has.
No, I mean like ever. Like a 2-point for a 2-pointer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure. All right. AJ, did you give your pick here, Waller
No.
or
I don't care about either of these guys, but I'll just be contrarian and
That's harsh.
I'll go Ertz.
It's
Oh,
just
no.
solid play.
Why
nobody
not?
really likes any of them? All righty.
Yeah.
So, Justin, you're gonna join in on the fun with us now. So we're doing our silly string picks of the week.
We should just get a screenshot of me doused in that
That
so
would be
far
fun
and
if
just
you
throw
give it
that
to
up
me,
as
you know.
our
More than 5 minutes before the show started.
yeah.
Anyway, so what we do here is we are going to use we use our half point PPR projections that are on the Fantasy Six Pack site. Doesn't really matter what projections you want to use, Justin, but as long as you give your projection total and your player, and then choose over and or under that point projection. And if you lose, you will get silly stringed by somebody and videotape it and throw it up on social media. We'll share it on air here afterwards. Tag us, we'll share the hashtag and everything else. And so just an all in good fun here. So we will let you go first. And who is your pick?
I'm going to go with Adam Thielen for the Panthers. He gets Detroit this week. I believe that game is in Detroit. You had given me the number of 9.8, I believe.
I think that is what we had.
I think I just need to hit 10. I think that's what I'm going to go with. He's going to have at least 10 fantasy points and half point PPR. I think he would said 9.7 or 9.8, whatever it is. So I'm going to say he's going to have another good performance this week. He's been eating up a ton of targets. I know Terrace Marshall's kind of dipped into that pocket a little bit these last few starts, but I still trust Thielen to have the most targets, play the most snaps, be on the field a lot, the team to play from behind. Detroit's been playing very well offensively, so I expect them to put up points. Again, I believe that game is at home, so the Panthers will be playing on the road, but Thielen will be playing somewhere very familiar. Obviously, very accustomed to playing in the NFC North, visiting Detroit quite a bit, very familiar with that field. I'm expecting him to go out. I'm not going to say he's going to show out, but I can easily see him scoring a touchdown on a bad offense. Again, just because he's on the field a lot, playing a lot of snaps, getting a lot of targets. Give me Adam Thielen.
All right. Yeah, he's at a 9.85. So you're going over.
So we got to hit 10, but yeah, whatever. 9.9, whatever.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. AJ, you want next as the loser of the week?
I guess I'm going with the gimme pick here.
Is it?
Don't you steal my pick, AJ.
Gonna have to switch my
no.
hat here. Get a little support going for our guest.
Oh,
Let it
nice.
ride.
Oh, that's
Let's
right.
go.
From the Expo.
I love this hat, dude. This hat's awesome.
God, man.
So I'm letting it ride with Montgomery. He's gonna follow up with what he did decimation wise last week.
Nice.
Sticking with that same game. Carolina's been very susceptible to the run, so he's at 1376. I'm going over, baby. Come on.
Love it.
Mike.
All right, yeah. So I kind of took the low-hanging fruit this week, but give me Breece Hall against Denver.
All right.
He's got 11.35 projected FanDuel points. I think he smashes the over. Broncos, according to FanDuel, points allow 40.9 to running backs. The next highest is the Cardinals at 29.1. That is a full 11 points more. So even with Dalvin Cook in the mix, and you get the news of the workload increasing, even if it's by a little against this cupcake matchup, I'm taking the over.
And Jamie was asking what.
Yeah,
I'm
trying to look it up here. Real
It's
quick.
961 right now.
What is it?
961.
9.61. Jamie, you want in on this? Throw your projection down, man. Lay the gauntlet. You want in? Over or under? I'll let you decide while I'm making my pick. I'm going a little risky here, I feel like, and it's
Devon Achan. I don't even know anymore.
Achan.
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 Yeah. So he's
Jamie's
got
taking
a
the over.
projection right now of 12.37, which is pretty high. Going against the Giants, the run defense is awful. So
Mhm.
he's got that going for him. Look, as we've seen, he only needs like 2 touches to break this. He's done it
Yeah,
the last 2 weeks.
He had that in
And
the
I
first
get it.
quarter
Like,
last week.
yeah.
He had that in the first quarter last
look,
week. Yeah.
And that game ended up being a blowout, and then like he basically didn't play. They tried to pass the ball a bunch. I think this will be more of a ground and pound game for the Dolphins. I think they're gonna crush the Giants. So he's gonna get his 12.37 even seems very attainable. So I'm going the over there. So sounds like Jamie's in on the action here. So we will post his pick with ours. And he's going 9.61 the over.
That means
on
everyone
Zay
took the over.
Flowers.
We're all very we're thinking positively, and one of us is
Optimistic.
gonna,
That's not usually me, but let's do it.
one of us is gonna get bit in the ass.
Oh yeah, that's all the fun. So
Better not be me.
cool day, man. So Justin, that's it for the show. Want to thank you for coming on, man. It was a great time having you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I don't like the game, but it's not over, man. It's not over.
No, it's not. It's a good game.
10-point
It's a very
game
good
with
game.
9 minutes left, by the way. This is
These
not
teams
over.
played each other last year. They played each other last year, I believe, in Chicago. Neither team scored a touchdown. This is fantastic. This is fantastic.
I do not remember that, but I did not watch the team last year. So
I watched this game last year on Thursday Night Football. It was not
to
good.
watch the Commanders last year because of Snyder. I just would no.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Say less.
But I'm back. I'm back, baby. So all right, man. Before we let you go, let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter, whatever else you got going on. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter at SGPNJB. You can follow our fantasy football podcast on Spotify, SGPN Fantasy Football. Jump into the conversation with us. Got a lot of good stuff for you guys. DFS, IDP, Dynasty, redraft, starter sits, waivers, everything that you need. Come hop on with us. We'll take care of you. You guys have been great. Love the conversation. Definitely going to have you guys, come jump on one of our pods pretty soon here.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it. So have a good night, man. And yeah, go Commanders.
Pardon.
Yeah, we'll see what
Thanks.
happens. I'm not
Thanks for coming on,
thinking
man.
that, but
Awesome
man.
chatting.
Yep.
See you, man.
Appreciate it, guys.
See it.
Alrighty. So that is it for the show. Yeah. So you brought up, you were in the Phillies gear, AJ.
That's right.
I know we're doing football right now, but like I said, I was wearing O's gear. And then, because the Commanders were playing, I had to swap. It's a football show. We're doing football. Football's on. So I had to do it. But it is awesome to have the O's be in the playoffs as the number 1 seed in the AL, although I'm terrified of playing the Rangers.
They're not that good. I'm sorry.
They just smoked
Tampa Bay.
the second best team in the AL.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They're on a bit of a heater, and they're gonna fall because I'm going to game 2 on Sunday with my beautiful wife. So
Are you?
will,
on the Saturday, right?
nah, Sunday. Game 1.
Oh, is it on? Oh, yeah, that's right. Saturday, the first game.
4
on the
o'clock
7th.
game though, which is
The 4.
pretty choice. Very excited about that. So
That is a good game.
don't
That is a
end
good
up
game
getting
time. Although
home
you're gonna miss all the
super
football.
late.
But yeah, worth it.
Yeah,
Worth it.
I'm okay with it.
Rate.
I'll have red
what?
zone.
I don't know what
20-man
this question is.
PPR.
I'm trying to read it first before we pop it up here. Rate 20 maybe. What? I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Anybody else understand?
I think
I
it's a
don't know.
20-team league. Is that what it means? 20-man PPR?
Am I rating his team? That's impossible. I'm gonna pop it up here. Ballard, rate the 20. I'm guessing 20 team PPR. Maybe clarify if you can. He's got Russ. He's got Jonathan Taylor. He's got Aaron Jones. He's got Tyreek Hill, Christian Kirk,
Komet, Atwell, and then Jameson Williams if he's good. If that's a 20-team league and you got those dudes, your team's phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
that's ridiculous. I know Russ was probably like a super late pick, but like he's been top 10-ish quarterback, so like he's been good. Kirk and Hill and Jones, JT. Like I know Jones been hurt, JT's been out. Like going forward, you're gonna be fine. You probably struggle super earlier on here because like you had a lot of guys that you were banking on that just straight up didn't play. But moving forward, you are looking good as long as JT can actually like do his thing. So I gave this like a solid like A-, man. For real. Moving forward, this is a solid team, man.
I love Williams.
He's 3-1. How the hell? Who do you have in place of those dudes? That's phenomenal. 20-team league though, man. Like you got to admit there, you got to think there's probably some pretty crappy teams. Dude, in our 14
if
team
he's got all those studs, then
in our 14 team leagues, man, there's some pretty crummy teams. So
mine's one of them. Mine's smoking mirrors right now. I have no idea how I'm
thanks, Joe
doing
Burrow.
as well as I am.
But anyway, all right, guys. We got one more. Kyle, I'll answer. Who to start, Ertz or Ferguson? Full PPR. I'm going Ertz.
I agree with that.
Ertz is dude. The volume that he's getting is just phenomenal. So I go Ertz.
Meanwhile, Thomas
Ferguson's not far off though. The volume, like Ertz is at 30 targets, and then Ferguson's at 25.
20-person league just traded. I'm guessing Breece Hall, Madison, Amon-Ra, Devonta Parker, Chark for Tyreek Hill.
You
Aaron
are
Jones,
playing
Everett and Kirk.
You are playing the 49ers with Jake Ferguson, though, so I'd probably go with Ertz. Just the matchup at that point. Volume's about the same, but use the matchup as a tiebreaker. Play Ertz.
Yeah. Ballard just answered. I love that trade.
Traded Breece Hall, Madison, Amon-Ra, Devontae Parker, Shark for Tyreek, Jones, Everett, and Kirk. Yeah, I'm game for that. I mean, Amon-Ra,
Amon-Ra is definitely the best on that. Well,
Breece
is right there too.
Here soon, so it's pretty fair. But I think he did all right though.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, I think we got to close it out. Thank you for joining in. We appreciate it. And again, hit those subscribe buttons, leave those reviews, and go over to fantasy6pack.net and become an all access member today to be able to talk to us all day, every day on Discord. And that's all we got, folks.
Let it ride.
Peace.
Go Phils.